Have you ever had a character whose design you can see evolve as you draw them more and more? Because for me, the character is myself. I no joke have made over 20 designs who are supposed to be me over the span of 3 years, and those numbers are from last year. In this video, I'll be going over the attempts to present myself online and design them how I would if I was given these prompts today. Because of the sheer volume of ideas, I can't do all of them. And that's why I selected a few characters I feel are significant enough for me to justify redoing. Most, if not all of these, can be assigned to a phase in my content creation journey, so I'll be going over those as well. We've all got to start somewhere, and my start was on this mobile app called Custom Cast. It was a sort of dress-up app that let you customize a 3D model you can use tracking on when you're done. Before I get any further, this is the dumbass baby child in question, Megami Minako. Let's get this out of the way immediately. No, I'm not Japanese. Yes, I used the Japanese name for a while there. Yes, I accidentally used 2 first names and only realized years later. When I switched personas for the first time, I very quickly learned from this mistake. Back to the design, this dumbfuck was a fallen angel. In my opinion, there is no reason in the world a 13-year-old should consider themselves fallen. But in my case, I only chose this concept because there were little black wings in the app, and I knew of a fictional character who called herself one. Besides that, I put other black accessories to match the wings, and the other main color was pink because it's my favorite. You will be seeing a lot of pink in this video. I don't know why the star hair clip is there, but it's there. There's no other piece of gold on this design, and I think that's funny. Now, how exactly was I going to use this 3D model? I could not tell you. Even though I had a laptop and a computer, for whatever reason, I thought streaming was impossible for me. My plan from day one was to make edited videos entirely on my phone, despite most VTubers at the time not making videos at all. In hindsight, my phone would have died immediately. I already have storage problems as is in 2025, and keeping hours of footage would only nuke my phone even harder. I wonder what would have changed if I showed my younger self just how easy it was to download OBS, Steam, and an editing program. At the same time, trying to become a VTuber at 13 is a terrible idea. Don't try to be internet famous at that age. I never got anywhere, but I imagine if I did, it wouldn't be pretty. Speaking of never getting anywhere, I never made content. I was preparing a debut slideshow the entire time, but it never left Ibis Paint. This left me as, essentially, a V-tweeter. Not thinking too much about my content is another mistake I kept repeating. It's a little embarrassing how long it took me just to start, but from what I heard, we're all dumb as teenagers. Ignore the fact I was 17 when I wrote this. Regardless, there are so many things I could say about her, but I don't want this section to be way longer than the others. Just know I have quite a few stories I could share about this time in my life. Remember when I said there's a lot of pink in this video? Because of this, I completely changed the color of some later designs, but I can't bring myself to take the pink out of Megami. To me, she's iconic in her own way, this stupid little goober, who, when you think about it, doesn't make any sense. Why would a fallen angel have a band-aid on her nose, a random-ass star hair clip, and a single thing? No idea, but it's just so reminiscent of Megami that I kept it all in. Despite all this, I found ways to make her look more like the original concept. Besides the hair and eyes, everything's monochrome now. In the custom cast model, there were some other colors involved, but now everything looks much more purposeful. I like that the pink stands out and draws attention to the face. That led me to do some gradients on the skirt, tights, and hair, and I think those get the idea across better than the original outfit. At some point, I realized not everyone's gonna get Fallen Angel from a pair of wings alone, so I added a little broken halo. I'm not sure how or why it's connected to the head, but I'm just glad it's there. Though yes, I've made the design more like the original concept, I still found some ways to sneak some personality in there. The skirt makes no sense, but do I like it? Hell yeah, let me have this. I also put some more frills on the hair bows, and I love the look of them. Overall, yep, that's her. That's the girl I was nearly 5 years ago. God, that feels so crazy to say. Just staring back at her feels so familiar, but I technically changed so much about her. Guess I'm doing my job right. Also, I added in a Hoagie because she's stupid. Remember when I said I learned from using a Japanese name for myself? The very next design was created entirely because I was brainstorming an English language first and last name. That sort of name format is what I wanted for myself at the time, so that's what I was looking for. After searching a ton of name websites, my new name was Stella Snowdrop. Stella because it was the name I liked, totally not biased because it's the name of a Liam Neeson song, and Snowdrop from a list of flowers. At some point I just realized those made good names when I couldn't think of any. Does it make sense together? Not really. Does it make sense with the design I created from it? Nope. But that's what I went with, and that's all I have to work with right now. When I was scripting this video, I searched Twitter, to check if I'd made an account, and no results came up. Even though this could mean I deactivated something, I have zero memory of posting anything under that name. To me, this means I never made any social media accounts in the first place, except a Discord account, who's only, to my knowledge, in the personal server. That may or may not be worse than a VTweeter. The only things I have to this name are a design and an email account, and a Discord account. I'm lucky this is my very first instance of a PNGtuber, or else I would have had to scrap this one. And I don't want to scrap this. She's so different from everyone else that I thought it would be fun to put her in the lineup. With a track record like this, surely this time I knew what kind of content I wanted to make. Nope, not at all. The thought didn't even cross my mind once. I've heard the advice of having your content in mind when making your concept, but this is before the times of watching every VTuber design video on the planet. I'm gonna use this as a segue into the design portion, cause what the fuck was I doing in 2022? I named myself Stella and didn't use star motifs? I knew what the name meant and didn't use star motifs? Holy shit, I was throwing. I replaced the hearts immediately, and as a bonus, I made the stars all soft and glowy for the second half of the name. I supposedly took the snow and snowdrop more literally, but my only proof is the cape thing in blue and white color scheme. Keep of course, but add more wintry clothes and fluffy accents. And the magic bit? Aside from the new and improved staff, I put a witch hat on her. She's a witch now, I guess. I also took the head bow from the original and put it on there as well. There's already a lot of bows on her design, and I was able to keep most of them. You know how I only have a vague idea of what my thought process was back then? Why did I have angel wings? I know damn well that's how I used to draw wings. Was I supposed to be an angel? Not anymore. Removed. Before I started coloring, I thought the mint green would make a return, but in the final design it's a different color now. I used it at first, but after some experimenting I thought the purple fit better. In the end, another major glow up for the one design that's actually never seen the light of day. I love seeing how much I've improved over the years, and this redesign is a perfect example of it. My understanding of both designing characters and technical drawing skills have grown exponentially, and I'm super proud of it. Finally, some actual fucking content. Not much, but progress. My very first venture into the content creation world was Twitch streaming. Now that I think about it, I don't know why I did this. For practice? Maybe. I'm not a big Twitch watcher, but I've definitely heard of it being some people's main streaming platform. Some YouTubers I watch record videos and extra content there, and I'd heard a lot of VTubers use it as well. However, I don't think I had any plans besides do what I felt like. I just started trying something, which I now know is way better than nothing at all. Still, why would I, famously bad at playing games and talking to people, become a streamer? Well, at the time, I didn't know just how bad my social skills were. I thought I'd be great at it. It's true that I try to be funny whenever I can with my friends, but alas, my streamer career did not take off. Naturally, I didn't last very long. I did an estimated 4 streams total, and I only have 1 archived on my computer. The rest are lost to time, either because I forgot to turn archives on or the timer ran out. That didn't stop me from trying again though, I'll get to that later. This is the first time I really had to think about what I wanted to be, and I thought pretty hard. I liked sea bunnies, hence the most on-the-nose name I could give myself, VD. I really wanted to make the design work, but I felt like I could never get it right. At some point, Rose tried redesigning me, but I had so many back and forths with them, and eventually with myself, that I just gave up on it. The design I chose for this video was the very first one, because that's what the handful of people who found me saw. All of the changes I made were pretty subtle, but at the same time, they added up and made the design way better. First and most egregious. What is that top? It looks like I combined a sailor collar with a hoodie, but that's not how that works. Theoretically it could work, but my execution was terrible. The way I drew extra long sleeves and the decision to tuck the hoodie into the skirt isn't helping either. Because everything else is leaning towards a casual look, I decided to turn this garment into a proper hoodie. Change the sailor collar for a hood, add some extra patterns, and crop the hoodie to give it that same effect as the puffed out look in the OG. The waistband of the skirt was also drawn way too thick, so I just made it look more normal in the new one. Experimenting with non-human skin colors is a good thing, but I don't see why it had to be purple. Sea bunnies aren't purple, and the color I chose was already too similar to the other purple. Most things in the first design seemed random, but I found more ways to incorporate sea bunny motifs in the new one. I was able to put the ear shape into places like the hair and ribbons, and I was able to incorporate the black spots they have into the leg warmers in the sleeves. When I drew that pattern, I imagined coloring it black, but I like purple better. Also, what was once a purple square is now an oval, which looks like the body of a sea bunny. I'm glad I'm being more intentional with my shapes now. I was gonna say something about how I'm glad I'm able to draw them at this angle because I got to draw a tail, but I'm not sure what was stopping me in the first place. Regardless, there's a tail now, and I'm really happy I added the tail. I know I added and changed a lot here, but there's still some aspects I kept from the original. The round eyebrows, silly mouth, and the headphones. Well, I would have kept the headphones if I didn't forget about them. By the time I remembered, I basically finished the design, and at that point I thought that area would be too cluttered if I put it back. Again, another design I'm really proud of. Would I have made something better if I added on another concept? Yes, but I was able to turn this absolute nothing burger into something a bit more appealing than the last time, and that's a feat on its own. I feel like I've been saying I don't know how I got here for a while now, but I actually don't know how I landed on Ghost Girl over here. I was definitely aware of the VTuber design videos by now, so I had a better understanding of how to brainstorm and design them. In fact, this might have the same problem as last time. There's barely any concept to be found. I don't know why I scripted it like that. Okay, I have a better understanding of how to brainstorm them, but I still have barely a concept. That's how interesting. The only other remotely concept-shaped thing I could find was Lolita fashion. I only remember this because of my cringe-ass Twitter bio. That's right, people, we've got another jobless V-tweeter on our hands. I actually don't know if I was trying to be a streamer again, but at least I could tell you with certainty that I did not make a YouTube account. Damn, that's crazy. Mid-scripting update, I checked my old account so I could get a screenshot of said cringe-ass Twitter bio, but initially it wasn't there. What I got instead was proof of multiple things I said in this video actually happening, as well as getting a glimpse of just how bad my old tweets were. Nothing cancel-worthy, just embarrassing, cringe, and completely unnecessary tweet, with a sprinkle of the realest shit ever. I got proof I had both a YouTube and Twitch account for Lilith, proof I spelled the name Lilith wrong the whole time, proof I was planning to do streams and edited videos, and proof I had a Twitter account for Seabun too. I rebranded their account into Lilith's. There's proof of the Splatoon incident too, which I implied in the last drawing. At least that VOD can't be restored to my knowledge. I was also teasing a rebrand that never happened as a design that doesn't show up in this video. I still have the full image and I think it's one of the better ones for its time. And finally, I dug up a single screenshot of the cringe-ass Twitter bio in question. Oh god, now I have to pull it out and read. Okay, here we go. LGBT, cute Lolita goes to VTuber. I hate myself. I hate proof of concept. This is dumb. Very dumb. I'm certain I used a grand total of 0 references when making this outfit. I'm pretty sure I wasn't even planning on the Lolita concept. It feels like it spawned out of thin air when I was just trying to make a cute outfit. Correcting myself while scripting yet again, I might be wrong here. I wouldn't have used most of the details I did if it wasn't Lolita, no matter how inaccurate they are. Either way, nothing about this looks right. To my dismay, the sailor collar makes its grand return. I didn't realize how much of a crux it was when I was younger. Everything else looks sort of believable, but not really. What's the fix to this? Well, I've made it somewhat obvious. References! Guys, don't be like me from 3 years ago. Use references whenever you can. Pinterest saved my life if you couldn't tell. If I'm gonna be wearing Lolita, might as well reference real cords, or at least know what kind of clothing they use. Several months ago, I got really into the fashion, and I watched a few videos. So now I know they usually wear either a blouse and a jumper skirt, or also known as a JSK, or a one piece. I took a majority of the inspiration from a single reference, so if I can find the image I'll put it here. Something I didn't do that I should have though is design the socks and shoes. If you've been keeping a close eye on my drawings, you'll know I started off drawing full bodies, then cut off the feet in the last 2. That was totally an accident. I focused so much on the pose that I forgot to account for if everything is in frame or not. Even then, I could have at least thought about what they have on their feet. All I know is that they have some kind of tights on and aren't barefoot. If there's one thing I like about the original, it's the color choice. Knowing me, my thought process was probably purple for Ghost, pink for my favorite color, blue is next to purple and pink, so that can work I guess. But I still cooked. This time around I made the colors a lot closer to each other in hue, so the light blue turned into a darker purple, which I like better actually. Personally, my favorite thing about the new design is the decision to make the eyes this light blue teal sort of color. The purple eyes looked okay, pretty mid, but the blue looks like literal eye candy. The way I drew the head bow comes in close second though. Unlike last time I kept the skin purple, but I had to mess with the color a lot while designing. I may have liked the old design before looking too closely, but I like this way better. Once again, bringing an old design to its full potential, man, it's a really good feeling. You love to see it. Time for another big change. This time I made the switch from a PNGtuber to a 3D model. Wait, Aren't you a PNG right now? I'll get to that later. Before I forget, this was made after I started going by the name Clover. Because I needed a unique VTuber name, the best I could do was Cloverbun VT. More on that in a second. Once I watched some tutorials and learned how easy it was to customize a Vroid model, I started experimenting. Since I heavily rely on pre-made assets for things like hairstyle and clothes, it almost feels like an upgraded custom cast. In fact, my first concept came to me entirely because of the pink maid dress and customizable bunny ears. Even though this design is the final form of a very first Vroid design, the dress was what made things click for me, kinda. Even though things were looking a little messy, a design to design. And I went back to streaming, this time on YouTube. And stream I did, because at the time of making the channel, a long break from school had just begun. Imagine being in high school. I could never. I wanted to take advantage of the free time, of course. What I should not have done, though, is plan to stream every single day, period. Not even every single day I could, just every single day, period. I get I had a bunch of ideas, but I did not have the stamina for it. By the end of the week, I was wondering, man, why am I so tired? But it was so painfully obvious in hindsight. I wasn't as good of a streamer as I thought I was. In my bullet points, I say clearly I'm not built to be a streamer, but I realized now I'd have to practice streaming way more to get anywhere close to that level, which was probably everyone I was watching at the time. So basically, professional streamers. I am no professional. At this point in my life, I don't know if I want to do that. Unless I got a ton of stream ideas for this channel, I'll only stream once in a blue moon. My last stream was a year ago. Wow, really? So I can't guarantee that if I stream tomorrow, it'll be any good. Dang, didn't expect to dig into my internet funny day skills that hard. Let's start talking about the new design, shall we? I'm trying this whole be confident thing. I think the biggest flaw of the original design is the cluttered silhouette. I didn't realize it at the time, but the pigtails, droopy ears, and weird ahoge was too much all at once. That's why I got rid of the ahoge, made the ears go up, and got rid of one pigtail. Yeah, that's right, I changed the hairstyle. All but one design so far has some form of pigtails. I need some diversity here. A bit of a spoiler, but I did the same thing for the next design as well. With the silhouette change, I also made the bangs shorter. Long bangs aren't necessarily bad. I've forgotten to cut mine IRL for a long time, but I only added to the clutter of everything else. I figured that since this design's personality wasn't shy like some of the earlier versions were, might as well change the bangs accordingly. Figuring out the hair and eye color was low-key a nightmare, but I found something I liked eventually. By the way, that's supposed to be shading. I don't blame you. My sibling also thought it was dyed hair. The brown wasn't bad, but I didn't want them to look too much like Daisy Mario Bros, so I tried some other things. At some point I thought I settled on this blue hair green eyes combo, but something didn't feel right. Later I changed the hair to green and it looked better than anything I did so far. It also happens to be the same color as a Clover, which is another reason why I kept it. Totally intentional, guys. Something I noticed while scripting is that there's a lot of circles on this design. Round eyebrows, the little hair tie thing, the blush marks, it's all there. Now you may be asking, why haven't I mentioned the main color going from pink to orange yet? Well, this was going to be the first time I completely changed the design's main color. For 99.999% of the speed paint, they're orange. This was because I remember there being an unreleased version where I changed the color scheme to orange and yellow. Why? I don't remember. But for whatever reason, when I started scripting this section, I wondered what the green hair would look like on the original pink dress. It's pink? I knew pink and green were complementary colors, and I knew the old design absolutely had too much pink on it. But damn, you didn't have to outdo the previous colors so quickly. I'm running out of ways to say I did the thing and I think I did well. One last thing. For all of the designs, I've been giving them little mascots, but I've neglected to talk about them so far. The one thing I'll say is, not gonna lie, this mascot in particular is a bit uglier than I thought it would be. Somehow, someway, it took me 3 whole years to start making some good old-fashioned YouTube videos. Looking back, I don't know how I didn't start with this. I watch videos way more than streams, there's no stress of needing to say anything on the spot, and I've edited stupid little shitposts on my phone in the past. I really wish I could have started earlier, but all I could do now is make more videos. Even then, I had more confidence going into my first long forms. The previous experience should carry over, right? Not necessarily. Sure, I had a slight advantage over other people's first videos, but that doesn't mean mine is any good. 6 minutes and 39 seconds of straight bullshitting it, I'm telling you. Quick reminder to like and subscribe. When you get there, let me know what you think of the new design. Let's say 100 likes on part 1 of redesigning Welveeta design. Wait, this entire video is talking about my design process. It's exactly what I need. That's right, I started out with art videos. My watch history may be full of gamers, but I do watch my fair share of art content. I love drawing, I love editing, How did my sibling think of the whole art YouTube thing 2 years before I did? As you might be able to tell, their channel partly inspired my own. I must have been thinking about doing this for a while because I remember asking them in August of 2024, "Are you really sure it's okay if I also start an art YouTube channel?" They told me something along the lines of, "It's fine, you'll develop your own style with time." I'm really grateful for the role they've played in my YouTube journey so far, not only giving me the push to start, but also encouraging me to post videos when I need a boost. Anyway, yes, this channel did start under a different name. I have 2 videos and a stream under this persona, and they're all pretty rough. If you want me to put the videos not stream back up, let me know. I'll probably put them in a separate playlist. Speaking of old videos, hey Pastby, how did you get your concept? When I started making 3D models, I had to relearn how to make VTuber designs entirely. But since I'd never done things like make clothing textures and V-Roid hair tool, I had to find a way to compromise what I want in design and my knowledge of the software. So why am I doing this process all over again? It all started when I was binging Comic-Q's Drawing Your OC series. One of the designs chosen in an older video was a Melisode Sea Slug, and I loved this design so much, and then it made me remember about VTuber concepts, because one day I decided to try completely rebranding again. Considering I've tried to do this so many times, I really wanted to make this one count. Ideally, I would never have to do this again unless I did work for another person. I thought back to that OCE. Okay, but what if I made that pink? If I'm gonna be a VTuber, may as well be self-indulgent with it. I looked around on Google to see what flavors pink can be, and I settled on strawberry. Why? I don't know, I liked it the best. After considering some options, I chose the Sea Angel. Again, I didn't have a ton of reasoning, I just liked the idea and fun shapes. Wow, cool, completely brainless. What about the design process? Something I haven't mentioned until now is that I was confident I could create the whole design in V-Roid without the need for planning. I was quickly proven wrong. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to work on the model, but I screenshotted the progress I had and sent it to my personal server. This ended up proving useful to me the next day because I drew over it to test out different color palettes. I put them on different layers so I could easily swap colors, and after some testing I got something I really liked. When I was finished with that, I tried some different face accessories. Since I didn't establish what I'd wear, now was the time to do it. As I was looking through clothes from scrapped VTuber ideas, I found this cardigan in there somewhere. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do when I graduate in less than a year, but it's cute, so I don't really care about that right now. I may not have had the brightest thought process, but at least I got to hear it from myself directly. Hopefully this time there's more to it than that. I started off similarly to last time. Keep the distinctive features, remove a pigtail, and change the color for less pink, but I kinda sorta got very decisive with the color palette when I got to it. I was originally gonna turn them green for melon soda, but then I remembered they also have these blue cream sodas. Flavor? Yes. Anyway, I tried both, and I liked both. Whoa, I asked a few people, but I'm pretty sure it was dead even. To make matters worse, I wanted to see what the original colors looked like on the new design, and I liked that too. At this point, I was triple wielding color palettes, which I didn't even know I could do, so I asked again. Thankfully, I got a pretty clear win for green this time around, so I stuck to that. Speaking of colors, I once again cooked with those. It started out kinda rough with the hair color not really working out, but I actually found that brown looked best. I chose that because I turned the dyed segment red. I wanted to try keeping as much of the hair dye pattern as possible, but I couldn't find a color that matched with the pastel pink. Also, the streaks weren't working, so I canned them. Once I realized I could use a color darker than red to get the same feeling of a lighter color undercolor, I liked the design more. Another color thing I'm glad I did, I turned the red accents into a more orangey red. It made the design warmer and the color palette more cohesive. I love having a better understanding of color. The cardigan also went through quite a few changes. The strawberry penna was hard to remember exactly, so I replaced it with a simple gradient and bubble. Now the color palette thing is a bit more justified. Just a little nod to the original name. I kept a single strawberry in the form of a patch on the left side. Woo, did the thing. Yay, did the thing. Oh yeah, I don't know where else I can mention my reason for switching back to a PNGtuber. I realized you could see me very obviously reading a script, which wouldn't really work with my heavily scripted content. Trust me, I tried going unscripted for these last few videos, it's just not working. Also, nobody talk about the fact that I once again forgot to give them shoes. Deal? Deal. Looks like there's one more thing I gotta show you. If we're doing redesigns, we gotta include present day, right? Ta-da! That should be the end of the video, right? My new design, you know, directly based off my current persona. What do you mean there's another one? Hey guys, there we go, the real 3.0. Oh my god, you guys have no idea how long I've been planning that other design, not the purple fuck. Let me explain. Before I go all in on the why, I should tell you about who I'm drawing. It's me, Clover. My name's still Clover, but now I'm a mischievous little goober up to no good. The way I've described it to other people was villain magical girl, but one of those silly goofy villains. Still non-binary, which may or may not have caused some confusion, but fuck it, we ball. Not much else to it, but I need you guys to know my weapon of choice is a comically large toy hammer. Back to the story. I have so many variations of Clover Yeah 3.0, and when I got the design down, I was fully intending for it to be my next step. I was already showing my friends saying, look at my new design. This is it. The real one. Go, my stupid gummy chibi. I'd been planning this for at least a month, but this complete 180 of a persona kind of train wrecked into my life in the best and funniest way possible. I have a few reasons why I want to totally change my image, and I'll go over those in a second. But here's how it all went down. In early November, I was talking to my friend, and she invited me to a silly little Secret Santa event our friend was hosting. I don't think it's all that little if there's nearly 100 people, but obviously there's going to be deadlines, and the one for drawing references was on the 16th. At the time, it was November 9th. In that same VC, I told her about potentially overhauling my entire persona and channel branding, and thought nothing of it. I didn't have any ideas at the time, but even back then I had my reason. Coincidentally, later that day, seemingly out of nowhere, I came up with this concept I vibed with and immediately started making the design. For the next 2 to 3 days, I high-key cooked and ended up with something I love. I took another few days to really think on if I truly wanted to commit to changing the entire channel. The moment I realized I wanted to go through with this was when I put both designs side by side and realized the new one has so much more personality. I couldn't really tell you what the first one's supposed to be like, just that they're designed to be cute. I'm already starting to touch on some of the reasons I wanted to rebrand, so I'll just show you the clip. I recorded myself showing my sibling a work-in-progress version of the design for the first time. I just wanted their reaction, but having a clip where I explain all of my reasons for rebranding is so awfully convenient. They knew I was recording, it's fine.
So, inspiration 1. You. No, it's like you thinking of concepts for your new redesign, help maybe think, oh, I'm just a ferret. I want to do something maybe a little more than that. I guess on a technicality I could say you again. But you know how I got into Party Crashers recently?
Damn, yeah?
Sophist's design just has that sauce. I've been trying to be like hyper femme cutesy this whole time. What if I tried something else? I mean, it also still kind of keeps elements of that because, like, the pigtails, but it's like, you've seen my Legend ZA avatars, right? And how,
yeah.
like, yeah.
I had a feeling.
Right now, gender and sexuality is a big question mark.
Gender? I don't know her.
Hey, I literally, on a drawing, I literally say gender, I hardly know her. So,
would your username still be Clover, yeah?
I would like to change that, but like, and I've been wanting to change that.
Really? You don't want to say, yeah, I'm Clover?
It's really funny, because like, I wasn't even intending to come up with a name right away, but like, in my heart of hearts, when I was like, I've had the concept in my mind, I thought of like the name Trickster Clover, but that's not set in stone. But I think it's good. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add this as, like, before like the complete 180 change, I was gonna abrupt end on like, oh, wait, what's happening? And then I just poof into the 3.0. But now I'm gonna add an extra segment at the end where it's like, it's just this now.
You know what I think it is? Essentially, this concept is me taking Negami's gremlin-y, meme-y, chaotic personality and detaching the need to be the absolute cutest. It's quite refreshing to not have that be the main focus of my design process. There's still cutesy elements because it's part of what I like, but what I'm talking about is more of an ego thing. I wouldn't have thought of a silly little top hat, for example, but thanks to some of my references, it's a part of the design I can't imagine not being there. Going back to one of the points I mentioned earlier, the entire time I was like, oh, fuck, this is way too close to Soph's design. But then I look at my creation, and I look back at his profile picture. I have nothing to worry about. My biggest concern was having too much in common, but I think I succeeded in doing my own thing. I tried writing a whole laundry list of reasons why my design isn't a ripoff actually, but in the end it's just completely unnecessary. Even though I'm taking quite a bit of inspiration from one place, I've been trying my very best to differentiate myself, and I think that's showing. If I'm that worried about being different enough, I think I'll be okay. That being said, if Sophist himself or whoever created his design comes to me saying, hey, I'm not comfy with this, I will not hesitate to change my design. It might be hard and it might be inconvenient, but I'll find a way to do it. The funny thing is, I can see numerous similarities between this design and a few I went over in this video. There's a single fan like Megami, color scheme and bangs like Lilith, hair the same length as Stars, and the eye bags and freckles from the unreleased 3.0. Crazy how this stuff works. I don't think I would have noticed if I wasn't making this video. Even though this new design is fun and exciting, there's a few cons of making the decision this fast. I did not think at all about the fact that I now need to make an entirely new PNGtuber, or at least some sprites, for this little homunculus. For reference, the last one took 17 hours. Quote my script, I think I'm cooked gaming. There's also a deadline I'm a little worried about, but as long as this video is posted in November, we're chilling. Yeah, I did it! Rebrand! If you're watching this video on the day it came out, try coming back in a few days to see the new profile.